That Man on Fatman is brought to you by Death Wish Coffee. Death Wish Coffee. The strongest coffee in the world. That Man on Fatman is also sponsored by Audible. Check out Audible over at audibletrials.com/thatmanonfatman. That Man on Fatman is now hosted on Podbean, so find us over at thatmanonfatman.podbean.com. And we here over at That Man on Fatman always feel a debt of gratitude to our buddy Chunder Tunes. So go check out his animation for all your podcast animation needs over at chundertunes.com. That Man on Fatman is available on most social media platforms. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, or you can go over to our links. We're on the Podbean site at thatmanonfatman.podbean.com. There's all kinds of links there to all our other resources as well. So check that out.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and I want to urge you to make a generous donation to the Wayne Foundation so we can stop the sexual trafficking of children. Do it, or I'll find you.
That Man on Fatman is recorded with a Zoom H6 handy recorder.
Zoom.
For creators.
Disclaimer. The show you're about to experience is for entertainment purposes only. The hosts use mature language and conversation just like in most of life. If you're too uptight, this might not be for you. All that said, we really do hope you enjoy the show. But if you don't enjoy it, expect a nice big shipment of my joyous Joker juice on your doorstep in the very near future. Toodles!
Yes, please note that use of all sound effects is done ironically.
Ooh-ah. You are listening to That Man on Fatman with Scott and Gene Holden, and they, trust me, have a great ass.
As the world's biggest Kevin Smith fan, I appreciate the fact that somebody finally made a podcast about that interesting motherfucker. So yes, you absolutely did the right thing.
Okay. What has two thumbs and is a huge fan of Kevin Smith? That Man!
Scott, who does That Man on Fatman podcast.
Yeah.
Ooh-ah.
Well, once upon a time, just a regular man read a book written by the Fat Man. Tough shit written by old Kev Smith.
Ooh-ah. That Man on Fatman.
Kev said go out and start a podcast, and so I did, and I had a real blast. But my obsession was driving my co-host nuts.
Who is he? He's that man. He's talking.
Didn't want to bring the podcast down. Needed Porkchop Murphy to hang around.
Go get him, that man.
So I created a show with one heck of a plan, and I call that show That Man on Fatman.
That Man on Fatman.
Go get him, that man.
We're gonna talk about Kevin Smith.
That Man on Fatman. That Man on Fatman.
Go get him, that man.
We're gonna talk about Kevin Smith.
Go get him, that man.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this episode 4-14. Yes, I know this is out of order. Yes, I know last week we dropped 4-15. But quite simply, the reason why was when I sat down and started the show, I thought we were on 4:15, and so why mess that up? We'll just play it out of order. It doesn't matter. It's okay. It'll all work out. In the end, both shows will be there. They'll just catch you off balance. But hey, this is a very special show. We're very happy to be here today, and sitting in the studio with me is none other than co-host and producer extraordinaire, Gene Holden.
Hi, guys.
And boy, it's been a crazy morning. It's funny. It's been, even though that we're dropping the show today, finally, after much plugging in advance,
yes,
we're dropping our Rick and Morty show. That's because we had Phil Hendrie on I interviewed him. Actually, I got to interview him twice because we interviewed him like about a month ago, and it really just felt a little rough, a little out of date, and we polished it up. And so I talked to him again, and we freshened up things, and it was a great interview. And you're going to hear that in a minute. And so you'll know this gentleman if you are a fan of Rick and Morty.
Okay.
Then this man plays Principal Vagina. That's right. He plays Principal Vagina, and he's also Scary Glenn. I was going through the show. I also, fuck, he's Scary Glenn, too, which is amazing.
He's got such a great voice.
And Cameron loves that episode, too, because he likes Scary Terry, bitch. Scary Terry, bitch. Anyway. So, yeah, Rick and Morty, amazing show. Kevin, how we can tie this in. Kevin loves Rick and Morty as well. So, therefore, having Rick and Morty content on this show is all good, which is great because what many of you don't know is for quite some time, one of the things I used to sound check for, when you find that you play a track to do a sound check, you find that you have to do it all the time because you want to know. And so what we use is this. So I can set levels for... You gotta get swifty. So, like, you gotta get swifty. To me, Rick and Morty has been a part of this show for over a year.
Get swifty? What the hell is
that?
It's our world.
So that's our guest today.
Yep.
Are you there, Gene?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Also, while that's been going on, we just had Cousin Johnny.
Yeah.
In the studio.
That was fun.
We recorded a segment that'll be in a couple weeks. We're on our A game here. We're stacking them out the bunghole, folks. So in the studio, and this is kind of weird because last week we had Brian O'Halloran in the house, sitting in that very chair, and then a week later we have Dante's murderer.
I know.
Sitting in the very same chair.
Yeah.
That's right. Cousin Johnny, John William. Many people know him as Coey London from Chasing Amy. Yeah, so we just sat down and talked with him. And his girlfriend was here, and it was a lot of fun because she's also known the family as long. Yeah. So look forward to that in a few weeks.
Yep.
But, yeah, so we're very pumped up. But another interesting thing that happened was Jean came to the realization that she never saw the original cut of Clerks, which has the ending with Cousin Johnny knocking off Dante. And so I just showed her that ending. So what did you think?
I didn't like that. What's the
You've
point?
never seen that before?
No. What was the point of that? It was so, dark.
Because remember, originally Clerks was inspired by, film noir and more of the...
avant-garde type of thing.
Yeah, the, what do you call it?
The Twilight Zone or something?
Yeah, the fucking show that just came back that I can't think of the name of right now. David Lynch. David Lynch, sort of dark. Yeah, and that was the sardonic punchline.
Twin Peaks is what you're talking about.
Yes, Twin Peaks. Him being shot was the irony. I'm not even supposed to be here today, and he's killed. He's shot.
So it was just very why? It was so
Well, Bob Hawke was the first person to pick up on that because that was one of the things he said. Yeah. He said, first of all, you can't. And Kevin, here's another irony. Right before the Emo Kev stretch of Emo Kev stuff on SModcast. He plays voice messages that from that time, one of which is Bob Hawke's saying essentially that you can't kill Dante at the end. And it leaves it as a note. Yeah. And also says, please stop calling me Mr. Hawke. Which apparently he did for way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
I just didn't like it. I'm glad they chose... I'm glad it's still there to see.
Apparently, so is Brian.
Yeah.
So.
I'm glad it's now. Is that what they showed in the theaters? Was that the ending, or did they show
that?
Both?
Was the theater that? Well, the place they would have shown that was at the first screening that Bob was at. They never screened that version again with Dante being killed.
Okay, so that was the only. So no one ever saw that one, but they have it as an extra.
No, people saw it. They just didn't. The only public screening of it was at what do you call it? Oh shoot,
Sundance.
No. In New York, the Angelica, yes, the Angelica. Yeah.
How cool is that?
Would have been in the film library, so anyone who had pulled a copy to look at it, anyone in the industry would have saw the original ending with him being killed and all that. So, just
I didn't like it.
And also another thing to Kevin's own, the bane of his own existence is
chagrin.
Yeah, he admitted recently that he also let out a copy that became a bootlegged copy, uncut. Kevin had like a longer version with other stuff.
Really?
Yeah, that he eventually cut out, but that bootleg still exists.
Why does? Yeah, he could add it as like an extra edition or whatever.
Well, he doesn't.
He doesn't own it.
Yeah.
I hate that.
But he's the one. Like, there was a customer who came all the time and was interested and talked. And he's like, you know what? When you put it out, I want to be the first person to buy a copy. And that's how. So as soon as Kevin got a first copy on a video cassette format, he sold it to this guy as promised. And that's where all of the bootlegs came from.
My God.
Essentially, he was patient zero or whatever.
Oh, my God.
So you just saw it for the first time. I really didn't know that you hadn't seen that before.
I did not
I feel
see
like
it.
you have.
No. Well, yeah, you know how I am, but I really don't. I did not see that.
All right.
I would have remembered that. And I just don't like, I don't know, it just didn't sit well with me, but.
Well, shall we do some sped lines and then move on into our...
It's very short.
Yeah, we want to keep it tight because it's a long interview.
The show's good.
It's a long and interesting interview.
I wasn't there.
Yes.
But it was still good.
Yes, it was. You were there for some of the first one, right?
I was.
Yeah. But, hey,
Oh, well, you can't win them all. So
I also want to apologize. The way we did this was, now that there's the Skype phone app, we're going to hear a lot more phone quality interviews via Skype. So,
which is,
and this will be one of them. So please bear with, a little bit of Skypean stuff that's going to go on. Yeah, it just sounds like a phone interview.
Yeah.
So, but you'll still know it's him. I really enjoyed talking to him. He's a good guy.
He is.
Politically, we're aligned.
Yeah.
I might be a little more radical than he, even.
Yeah, but he's pretty radical, too.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Ooh, I'm glad we said this. Another weird show note.
Yeah.
As we're talking, you'll even hear it. It's the moment. So we're recording this, which was, 3:30. I'm whistling for some reason. Which was recorded...
Friday the 25th.
I should wet my whistle. That's probably what's going on.
Friday the 25th.
Yeah. It was 3:30 Pacific time, so that's 6:30 our time.
Uh-huh.
I don't know when it was announced. Trump announced that he pardoned that guy.
Yeah. What guy? Oh, yeah.
The sheriff from in Phoenix. Arpeggio or whatever.
Arpeggio.
Such a musical term. But I knew. I just knew in my gut. And it's funny, too, because I thought, my feeling was he was going to pardon that guy on Friday, because that's when he does shitty things.
Oh, yeah. And there's a hurricane and all that shit. When no one's paying
there
attention.
we are. We're talking about it on the show. Yeah. And Phil brings it up, and I say, nah, he's gonna pardon him. He's gonna pardon. And I almost said he's gonna pardon him Friday, but I was like, oh, it is Friday.
Yeah, you can't do it.
And and we were in the interview, and I hadn't heard anything.
Yeah.
But as soon as I finished the interview and and then went and looked at the news,
and he didn't
fucking A.
And he didn't think he was going to do it.
Yeah, but I knew. I just knew because it's very simple. Trump is cruel.
Really
and he wants to do cruel things to bother people.
I know.
He really does. That's all.
It's very simple.
And this legendary base of his is cruel as well. They enjoy his cruelty.
And they have no right to be cruel.
They celebrate his cruelty. And so they're on board with that shit.
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a we've reached a real
very
low
dark
point.
Part of
but
our
let's
country.
not. All right, okay.
It's a dark part of our.
You're going to
country.
get enough of this in the actual interview.
Well,
but I just find it ironic. So you're going to hear that during the interview. That moment happens, and as soon as the interview is over, that gets announced, or it could even been happening as we were saying that. So it's just a weird little twist of fate there.
It's very shameful, the whole thing. The whole thing is very, very...
Gotta be a strange twist of fate. What's that from?
I have no idea.
You don't remember that? It's an Olivia Newton-John song.
Let's get physical.
No, it's not that one. That's a different show, too.
Let's get physical.
And now, direct from the That Cave, we give you the Smedlines with Gene Holden.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Another Smedlines. Hello. British Mary Poppins. Oh my God, I love you, Ralph Garman. So anyway, the date, the announced shooting date will be in September for
what are you talking about? Hang on.
Jay and Silent Bob rebooted.
Yes, Jay and Silent Bob rebooted. Yay. Now, so if you listen to the show, you've already known, and but the big official, I guess, double secret announcement has been revealed, and yes, they actually are going to begin shooting in September.
So very cool.
And where are they shooting? Because it moved several times. I think it's down south now.
It is. I thought it was like North Carolina.
Yeah, I thought so as well. So it was better when it was in Philly.
What?
It was better when it was in Philly.
Louisiana, maybe even that.
Yeah, I know there's significant more down south, but I did think it was the Carolina for some reason.
For some reason, yeah. If you'd like to correct us.
Yeah, well, more will be revealed.
Also, just recently, actually Saturday night. So today's Sunday. So last.
Oh wait,
night,
hang on. Is this a sweep? Or are we?
This is a sweep.
Hang on.
Next
It's very important. Hang on. Shoot,
you have to break it up, baby.
To make sure. Yeah. See, the problem is I'm so much better. Where is it? Where'd it go? There it is. All right. All right. Next news story.
Very good. I have to exhale first.
Time to kick back, drink some beers, and smoke some weed.
All right.
Good. Okay, so Saturday at the Fundy Fan Fest in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada.
Yeah.
Mark Bernardin and Kevin did a Fatman on Batman.
Ooh!
As well as a Jay and Bob Get Old the same night. How cool is that?
Awesome. So they doubled down.
They doubled. They did a double.
See, that's always a weird one. See, that one you have to buy both.
Yeah, because how are you going to leave and then come back?
But it's weird when it's like we do a matinee, when they do two shows, like when Babylon does two shows.
Yeah.
Now, everybody knows you always want to go to the second show because
because like
they're more inclined to go late.
Ralph's like a little more,
Yeah, he's going to be more fucking, he's going to be more happy. You're going to
Kevin's going to be a little more
2.6. It's going to be crazy. So
2.6.
Yes, it's very inside. It's a very inside reference to our man over there in God, why can't I gotta have these queued up better.
Wow.
There we go.
Yes.
So, where were we? What were you saying?
No,
so they did their shows
at the Fundy Fan Fest.
So fans got to groove out on that.
Yeah, and I'm
shit.
sure there's
also. I just want to take a time to do a shout out to our buddy Ben Gumry. If you haven't had a chance, you should check him out. IndieMac user over there in fucking England, because those guys are having a lot of fun. They are doing a lot of support, and they have their own stuff, their blog, and they're working with our other buddy over there who does his Doctor Who podcast, which you know him as Dr. Squee. That's right. Check those guys out, and Lewis, of course. Gene gets such a kick out of Lewis's posts, so. You guys, thanks. Special shout out to you because we've been following your posts and checking you out and reading a lot of your stuff lately. And just want to tip the hat to you guys. All right, so it makes me so happy at this time. What were we finishing up before we were so rudely interrupted by food?
hot dogs.
Before hot dogs, baby.
Hot dogs always are a welcome.
I say,
addition.
Let's do it!
This reminds me of hot dogs.
All right.
Oscar Mayer wieners.
When someone has their head bent over.
Say it with me.
Head bent over.
Raised up posterior. Put your hot dog in the bunghole.
Bend over.
That's
Put
why.
a hot dog in your posterior.
Yes, there you go.
Oh my God.
Come on, man. Haven't we ever had an uncomfortable silence or an awkward fart on a road trip? Come on, Pencilvester. Give me anything.
Rick, I'm Pencilvester. Listen to that name. You can't kill me.
You're right.
Kill Pencilvester. There you go. Someone else killed him. That was it.
I love it.
And of course.
Sir, he started picking up on a garbled signal. We're decrypting it now.
We asked them to show us what they got, and they did. Now we'll see which of them has got the most. 24 hours, 5 planets, 5 songs. But in the end,
there can only be one Planet Music.
All participation is involuntary. Disqualified and losing planets are disintegrated by plasma ray.
There it is. That's it. That's one of my favorite episodes. And although some of the season 3 episodes are definitely jumping up there.
They're great.
Whenever we turn someone on to Rick and Morty, that's the episode we play. And one of the characters that is prominently featured in that particular episode is none other than,
This is Principal Vagina. No relation. Hi, Principal Vagina. The name's real, possibly Scandinavian. Principal Vagina here. Don't let the name fool you. I'm very much in charge.
That's the best one, isn't it? Yeah, he had a hard time hearing that one because it's in the fucking.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
Yeah. So there you go. Like right there, he's set up because his name is a setup for a punchline. I mean, the buybacks are amazing. So we talk a little bit about that, but I'm very happy to have someone on the show who's connected in any way to this genius show, and for him to be Principal Vagina, I mean, oh my God. From the first episode, that's one of the things, that's one of the cues where you're like, okay, this is not normal. This is not going to be this is not the regular show.
Right.
This is bringing things to a new level.
Mm-hmm.
And Principal Vagina does that.
He does.
And then by the second episode, he's in there also as Scary Glenn. Now, I'll save that because I play it when we're in the interview, so even though I played some of those too, but I can never get enough Principal Vagina, especially that one.
Principal Vagina here. Don't let the name fool you. I'm very much in charge.
It's almost like this.
My main business is real estate. I also own a newspaper and some other websites and online media businesses.
I believe that was Kushner.
Yeah.
All right, so, and yes, this guy's political, so it's going to get a little political during the discussion. As we talked about, this guy dies during, this guy dies. What am I saying? This guy's is pardoned while we're talking. I don't know why I went died.
I know.
Weird.
He died during the interview.
No, I died on the interview. But I'm so excited. I'm so glad. Here we go. This is Principal Vagina, the man himself, Phil Hendrie. And he has other credentials as well. I don't want to sell him short, but that right now is a hot damn show. So Here comes Phil Hendrie, and you'll learn more about him shortly. Here we go.
And now, here's our guest.
All right, I am so glad at this time, everybody, to finally bring on to the show, after much hype and much building on my part, the man responsible for the dulcet tones such as this.
This is Principal Vagina. No relation.
And I've been binging, and I found this little archive.
Hi, guys. I'm your new teacher for Scary Class. My name is Scary Mr. Johnson. Actually, you know what? That's my dad's name, so why don't you just call me Scary Glenn? Yeah.
That's right. Also, the legendary Scary Glenn. I want to welcome to the show right now, Mr. Phil Hendrie. Hello, sir.
How you doing, man?
How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
I really appreciate you doing this again.
Scary Glenn.
Yeah, Scary Glenn, man. That is he's a very cool character, especially when he's like this.
So anyway, I understand your previous teacher was having you work on fundamentals of fear, which is, what is that? You know, so here's what I say. You can't learn anything until you learn how to chill.
I love that character.
I forget when we did that. I guess it was a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, that was like the second episode.
Was it really? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as the show went along, I don't know how many actual other actors are used. I know Justin does a lot of the voicing of the show, which is it's brilliant what he does. I think maybe in the first season there were more more cast members than there is now, but that's just me guessing.
Yeah,
speculating.
Well, the season 3 has been very internal, very esoteric, very much between the dynamic of the doctor and his daughter, more than going as broad. So it's been an interesting season. But you are in my favorite episode of all time, which is the one where you become the head of the head religion. And that I meant to say that as my introduction to you is Headward Free, now arise, sir. Which was what he said before he sent people off into that's
Headward Free, now to rise.
That was it. That should be like your greeting everywhere.
Yeah, I put that on the old iPhone.
Yeah.
Something. Although I don't want to step on anybody's copyright, but
I think I think those guys would be very much permissive of such things. I mean, you are Principal Vagina.
Yeah, no, I'm joking. But God, I'd forgotten all about the head religion.
That is like my favorite episode because of just recently, as a matter of fact, we showed a friend it's the go-to episode I use when I want to show somebody what Rick and Morty is. That's the episode I put on because it's just so perfect. It's zany, but it just highlights so much of what they do, and you are such a featured character in it.
You know, that character, Principal Vagina, is the closest I've ever come to just using my own voice.
Yeah.
I don't really do any. I don't do any real character manipulation there. I just use Phil Hendrie's voice, and that's the first time in all of my voice acting career where I've relied heavily on just the use of my own voice. And since that time, I've thought, what's wrong with doing that? I mean, that's a valid character too.
Yeah.
I think it's in the instinct of anybody who does voice acting to manipulate your voice somehow, create something or someone other than yourself. But I remember getting the direction from Justin of just being the principal, which was essentially the voice of Phil Hendrie.
And you're a little more authority, but it's more you as tough guy. Or what I love about that character and what I think is going to be so great to watch is because of the name, the running gag is after you say it, there's like a buyback of the name, like some sort of explanation, and it's so funny. But the one that is to me my favorite is this one where he's like,
Principal Vagina here. Don't let the name fool you. I'm very much in charge.
Don't let the name fool. He said, "Don't let the name fool you. I'm very much in charge." Yeah, that's a quieter one because you're on a PA.
That's like having a teacher named Mr. Lipschitz or
yeah.
I remember teachers like that. Definitely.
Yeah, and it seems like at least Principal Vagina seems secure in the fact that his name is Vagina enough to at least make these buyback jokes.
Right. I think in his mind it's Italian, and the actual word vagina occasionally occurs to him that it has another meaning, but to him it's just the family's Italian name.
Yeah, I actually recently learned the origin of that name and what that is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was actually on we can tie this into Kevin Smith too, on one of his podcasts, Edumacation, where they kind of talk about cocktail science. He hosts it with a gentleman who used to write for Jay Leno on The Tonight Show named Andrew McElfresh, and he loves etymology, and so he did look up the origin of that word, and it is Italian. I mean, it's Latin, and it's from vagine, which is the sheath for your sword.
Perfect.
Yes.
Leave it to the Italians.
Yes, to minimize women to nothing more than a sheath for a sword.
Well,
an appendage.
That's part of the anatomy. Yeah.
An appendage. You know, they're more of an appendage, or something that you need to put your sword in. But you can go without it if you can just shove it in your belt if you have to. Another reason I felt first of all, I want to thank you for doing this interview again, because we recorded about a month ago, and let's face it, in the Trump universe, a month is like fucking 10 years. So I figured it'd be good to talk to you again, because it feels like the total universe has changed in that, half the staff was fired, and it's still crazy, of course, because the one guy who's the craziest is still there.
Well, that's the whole thing, man. They can fire. I just read today where Gary Cohn said something public about the Charlottesville.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, wow, he stood up for himself and he got into the president's face. But so Trump fires him and puts somebody else in there. So what? Which is either going to happen or it won't happen. I think the only thing that can change, really, that'll do any good would be Trump. And I think he only changes when he has to. In his world, he didn't change at all. Everybody understands him better. But
right now, I think.
And then the other thing was Charlottesville. That was a huge watershed moment, I think, in his presidency.
Yeah, but here's what's scaring me. It's really sort of becoming another, grab 'em by the pussy moment. At first, everyone is morally outraged, and then everyone just sort of falls back in line into normal, just accepting the unacceptable.
I don't know that everyone, if you've got 60 to 70% of the population unhappy with you, but there's no way that they can do anything about it, and there really isn't any way for us to do anything about it. In other words, 60 to 70% don't like what he's doing. But I think most people are saying, I don't think I'm in the mood right now to get all pissed off and get an impeachment thing going. Let's just let this cat roll along. I think that's what's happening. Trump may take that.
It's so weird because Congress, who should be doing something, just continues to...
Well, they sort of are. I mean, they've said to him, forget it, you're not getting your wall. They're not really vociferous about it.
Yes, but he's about to shut down the government if he doesn't get it.
Well, and he won't be able to do that either, because he won't get the votes to shut the government down. I mean, all he does...
Well, he'll have to veto it.
Has a rally, huh?
He would, to do it, if he does what he says, he would actually have to veto it. And the one thing I really think he has a problem with is making a clear decision that he's accountable for. If you ever look at Trump, he has a real difficulty with that.
I don't know if maybe I don't know what you mean by that. He seems to me like a guy who doesn't mind at all.
Well, okay, if it's not just reversing Obama. Which, that's easy for him, apparently. So much so that, it's stupid. But beyond that, when he's accountable for something like, say, people may die based on the decision he makes, he fucking, he sputters and he trembles and he tries to put it on other people and he does everything he can, with this fucking Afghanistan thing. But the generals kept pushing back. They're like, no. You're going to make a decision as to what the fucking, what our forward motion is going to be, not us.
Yeah,
we'll recommend.
He's a guy that, Trump threatens a lot of things, and then he doesn't pull the trigger because he doesn't have the political power to do it. For instance, he threatened to pardon Joe Arpaio. He's not going to do that because there'll be riots in the streets.
He'll do it. He'll do it.
He'll do it. He threatened, what was the last thing? He threatened North Korea with all kinds of good shit. He didn't do that. North Korea gave him an out. They didn't do shit either.
That I don't think he'll do. Quite, because, again, it goes back to lives, real war, real responsibility, having to look people in the face whose family died because of you. That he has a problem with.
Yeah. Well, it's not popular. Going to war is not a popular thing unless you can win it real fast.
Yeah.
And a war with North Korea was not going to be politically a good thing, even though we're going to win. But it also means the destruction of South Korea, all kinds of people dead, and it's all on Trump. So
all of this is a wonderful distraction from the Steele dossier, though, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know much about that other than it may be true and it may not. And this guy, Christopher Steele, may have been basing it in truth and he may not have been. And I don't know how much weight Mueller is giving it either.
Oh, from what I
mean, look, here's my opinion on this. I believe that they need to stick as close as they can to real hard concrete shit because Breitbart and Prison Planet and InfoWars and all those places, they go down the road of the Steele dossier. Those people deal with all kinds of bullshit.
10 hours and 40,000 pages of 40,000 documents?
Well, who knows? I mean, hey, look at the Protocols of the Elders of Zion was written by the Russian secret police. It doesn't exist as a real thing. It was created by the secret police of the Russian government, and yet today everybody thinks that there may be something to it. It was just written as a slander. Look,
ironically, isn't it interesting that there's a link between American white supremacists and Russia and Putin?
Maybe that's not a problem. I think there's a link between Trump and Putin.
Yes, very much so.
I just don't know whether the Steele dossier is the place to go with it.
Oh, yeah. Steele dossier, really, what the Steele dossier does is it lays it all out. It did lay it out. It laid it out early, and that's why most of it has already been corroborated. That's why I hate the American media, being so careful with that document, because, what did it say? It said,
the guy to hold on to it is Mueller, and then he can use it in whatever prosecution he's going to mount. That's the only place where it really matters.
Yeah.
And I hope you're right, man.
And this guy Steele is a respected MI6 agent. So
yeah, I know that, but understand that people involved in espionage and this kind of thing are involved in not only information but disinformation.
That's true.
So whatever he does is to help just to further king and crown or queen and crown, but it could be disinformation, it could be information, it could be bullshit, anything to help the good guys. But in our system of government right now, if this is going to be a prosecution, a criminal prosecution or investigation, Mueller's got to be dealing with real shit. He can't be fucking around with a bunch of. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying if it isn't real, he can't be messing with it. I think they need. Here's what I think, man. I think there's enough sweat coming off of Trump right now to indicate, yeah, he's worried about this Russian investigation.
Oh yeah.
We already know that Donald Jr. is a real mess. That stupid ass. I heard that guy, that Donald Jr.'s got a drinking problem. Did you hear about that?
No, that I did not know.
Yeah. He's battling the booze. He battles the bottle, which doesn't help anybody.
I wonder if that's why he decided to be like, "Hey, I'm just going to release all these emails."
Could be.
The most damning fucking thing.
Who's he talking to? And who is he? He's got people coming to Trump Tower, we know, during the campaign. Places like got a turnstile in it. The thing that frustrates me isn't so much Mueller, it's the assholes on the other side who say, not one shred, all this evidence, and there's no fire.
Yeah, which is bullshit.
Because
there's plenty of fire.
Well, that's not how investigations go. Investigations are investigations until they aren't anymore, and there's a prosecution. And so, just because it's taken longer than Trump would like, because he is sweating bullets.
No, what they keep saying is there's no evidence. No, but there's plenty of evidence.
There's plenty of evidence.
I mean, that's how things work. You take all the evidence, and it starts to add up, and it starts to point somewhere. And then you look at a guy, and he starts to behave very guilty, as though someone might find out secrets about him. Now, I mean, I think last time we talked, I said, I don't think a piss tape is really what Russia has. I mean, they may, but I don't think that's the big thing. Really, what they have on him now is Russia knows that Trump conspired with them, and they also know, I think, that they double-crossed him ultimately and fixed the election so that he won. That's my little theory. I don't think that the deal he had with the Russians was that. I think he was going to walk away with like a media company or some shit, and he would be rich and he'd be a happy guy. But the Russians double-crossed him, and they actually fixed the Electoral College via hacking to come up with the results. So he won, kind of double-crossing him. And in doing that, they totally trapped him. I mean, when you insert that into the funny thing is it all fits. It explains everything, and it makes sense. It explains his behavior. It explains everyone's behavior, and it works. That's my theory.
Well, I don't think the other way. I think it's an interesting theory, but I think it also fits that Trump talked a bunch of times to Russians, or members of his campaign did. Meanwhile, the Russians were doing what they do, which was a campaign of disinformation and Russian bots.
Oh, that too. Yes, of course.
Manipulating the news feed over there at Fox, manipulating the news feed at Breitbart,
stealing emails, and selectively
doing
releasing them.
What they do,
but all in collusion.
Did enough to convince enough Americans, or maybe not, I don't know, but certainly fucked with the minds of enough Americans to think there was all kinds of shit happening with Hillary. You know, and then along came the FBI, James Comey, and say what he said. And I think, Trump's president because
Putin fixed the fucking election.
I personally don't believe that the Russians necessarily broke into any machines.
Oh, they did. I think they did. Just so we're clear, I'm saying that. You're not.
No, I know that. I know. But I mean, I'm just saying, what I believe happened is that there was enough doubt sown in the minds of a lot of Americans about Hillary Clinton, and a lot of that doubt was created by the Russian misinformation campaign that we call the Russian meddling.
100%. I agree.
And it was done for the benefit of Donald Trump, and he did benefit, and he became president. He's not prepared to be president. He doesn't know what being president is.
Which is why...
So he's a shitty president.
Which is exactly why Putin put him in there. Exactly why.
Well, yeah. He's supposedly friendly to Russia's national interests.
And whether or not, because no matter what, he wins. He causes chaos and disorder. Because if you look at what some of the things that Steele dossier allege, one of the main things it alleges was that as payment for Russia's help, one of the things that fucking Trump was supposed to do is essentially destroy the American State Department. Tell me he hasn't done that.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if he has or not. He's got a State Department where he hasn't filled a lot of posts. He's got a Secretary of State who's sort of
Russia's best buddy.
Wishy-washy in the middle, but I wouldn't say he's a disaster.
But he is Putin. He does actually have a Medal of Honor from Putin as well.
Tillerson, yeah.
And they're all out to get rich if they remove those sanctions, because then they can do the deep drilling up in the fucking Arctic. And boom, payday for everybody.
Well, look, that's fine. What we know is Trump didn't want sanctions. He got hit with sanctions. Trump didn't want this and didn't want that. Trump favors Russia, and it's not working for Russia. They've gotten hit with sanctions. Trump's not delivering on a lot of shit. Whether or not there was an understanding, or whether they knew that Trump was just so stupid that he would be able to do these things, I don't know.
Yeah.
Fortunately, there's no. First of all, we've found out about this so-called meddling, and
thankfully,
and there hasn't been any real. I don't know if there's been any benefit to Russia having Trump in there or not.
Well, here's the thing: Russia hasn't stopped. Those bots are still out there pumping away. And in honesty, I'm not going to trust a single election until somebody in this fucking government comes out and says, "Hey, here's what they were doing, and here's what we're doing, so that it doesn't happen again." Until then, I believe any vote is suspect. If you're voting into something with a computer, don't fucking trust it. Unless they give you a receipt.
One of the things I don't trust, and one of the things they're attempting to fix, has nothing to do with Russia, and that is the gerrymandering.
Oh, that I agree.
Rigging of districts. Yeah, and number two is Donald Trump himself, because he's basically a criminal, has hired another criminal, this slob out of Kansas, to create this voter fraud commission.
Yeah.
The purpose of which is to suppress votes, not to improve or to promote voting. So that is what we can do here to offset the Trump effect. As far as the Russian effect goes, I don't believe they did anything more than a campaign of disinformation, hacking into machines. I mean, that's if you believe that, that's cool.
I do, just because I've been in IT and I understand.
Yeah.
Essentially how easy it is. You know what I mean? And I ran a data center in my past life for 10 years. I was the head of the computer operations, basic level of first front line of data security in a data center. And, anyone in IT, really, if you talk to them, they will eventually tell you that if anything you have has software on it, if someone has the will and the means to, hack it, they will. Or, and both can be purchased.
Yeah.
So, to me, nothing is... And if you have a guy like Putin, and, think about a project in a real project team, and then think about a project in what a security or a fucking intel operation must be like. It's amped up. So, I mean, if you're given a mission and you know that Putin is ultimately the guy calling the shots, backing the project, anything you need is going to get green lit. So,
yeah,
it's gonna, it's a mission critical success, and they won big time. They really did.
They did.
So, whoopee for that.
And it could be. But let me ask you this:
yes,
did they hack the primary?
I actually believe that they did. I believe, the bots were totally active. I definitely believe that they influenced and probably hacked the primaries, because here's the thing with the primaries. Nobody was even looking at those. I wouldn't be...
Well, because they would have had to in order for him to become the nominee.
Exactly. They had to... it was mission critical. And, those bots were working overtime, if you recall.
Well, and those bots... They started to be easy to spot. First of all, because they were not necessarily referencing what the tweet was about.
Yeah.
They also look like to me they look like the National Enquirer. Their accounts are all riddled with a National Enquirer style headlines, all kinds of MAGA this, MAGA that, all kinds of flags, all kinds of emojis. Fake pictures up the wazoo.
But if you and I are a little more technically savvy, there are people out there who claim that they're not, so they're influenced easily by bots. I don't know that that's true. I really do think most of the election results were hacked. So I do believe there are bots out there, and I do believe they were influencing opinion.
Lots of them.
And there were so many false equivalencies flying around in the news.
The other thing is all you had to do is scroll down Trump's follower list far enough, and you started seeing all those gray little figurines, that don't have pictures. And there would be like 20 in a row, 30 in a row, 40 in a row of those things. And then a real guy and a real guy, and then another 30 or 40 in a row. Ridiculous, man.
I don't get why the media is so obsessed with this quote-unquote Trump's base, because I really think Trump's base is really this white neo-Nazi fucking crowd. I don't know that he goes very much beyond that. And they're just a loud group. So, they're
loud. Yeah, they're very loud. They are definitely European American, and they wouldn't call themselves racist, but what they called when America was great was definitely when the face of America was white, and they had the microphone. As people say, they held the microphone.
Yeah. Well, Bill Maher said it.
That's all changed now.
Bill Maher said it, the new racism is just denying racism. So, it's all these white people who call themselves white nationalists or, this other word because they're not racist.
We had a little incident. A student was frozen to death. And there's no evidence that a Latino student did it. Everyone wants to take this to a racial place. I won't let them.
That was so obscure, too, because everyone was like, I'm Mexican. What? All right, we want to take a moment to talk about Death Wish Coffee. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, do yourself a favor and get over to deathwishcoffee.com. And there you can buy the strongest coffee known to man without a prescription.
The world's strongest coffee ever.
Yes, as proudly displayed on my wife's sweatshirt over there.
Yes, on my body, on my mug,
on
my K-cups.
Yes, and you'll know them by their telling sign of the skull and crossbones that tells you
good.
Exactly what you're in for. That used to be the international symbol for poison, but now it is the symbol for good damn coffee.
It's awesome. Without milk, with milk, you don't really need it because it's strong.
But not bitter?
Not bitter. So you don't even need milk. You don't even need sugar, but you can add it if you'd like. It's just really, really the perfect strongest, most awesome coffee.
Become a junkie of Death Wish, just like the Anderson Council. And
we got him hooked.
again, deathwishcoffee.com. Thank you very much.
Enjoy it.
I want to take this time to mention to you www.audibletrial.com/ThatMan on Fatman. That's right, www.audibletrial.com/ThatMan on Fatman. That's one word, conjunctified. Go there, sign up for your free 30-day free trial. Sign up, get a free book, a free audiobook, because you don't have to go through no tedious reading. You don't have to turn no fucking pages. You don't have to do any of that bullshit. You get in your car, you put on your headphones, and you are listening to a book. You're taking a magical journey into a fictitious land. You're expanding your mind, all when you're stuck in traffic. Fucking amazing. Audiobooks. These are the wave of the future. And you can get in for free for 30 days. A free trial. And when you get your free trial, you can download a copy of Tough Shit by our Savior, Kevin Smith. That's right. Our Lord and Savior, Kevin Smith, has left words for us to follow in our lives, and we can get it for free just by signing up to audibletrial.com/ThatMan on Fatman. That's right. audibletrial.com/ThatMan on Fatman. Thank you. Please sign up. You'll be very happy you did. Bill Maher said it, like the new racism is just denying racism. So, it's all these white people who call themselves white nationalists or, this other word because they're not racist.
We had a little incident. A student was frozen to death. And there's no evidence that a Latino student did it. Everyone wants to take this to a racial place. I won't let them.
That was so obscure, too, because everyone was like, oh, Mexican. What? Great episode. That was actually, I think, the first episode.
Was it?
Yes.
I remember when we did the first year of Rick and Morty, we did at Bang Zoom Studios on Pass. It was the boulevard heading up to Burbank Airport.
Cool.
And so we did. I did about 4 or 5 or 6 sessions there. And then the second season, this is when I think Justin started doing more and more characters. And I recently did a session for them on a studio in Magnolia, which it's kind of cool because if you go to these old recording studios in L.A., you look at the history of the studio. I've started to do this. And the reason why I do that is because we find it was a studio that did rock and roll in the 70s, and it had a lot of paneling, and the Doobie Brothers were in there or something, and God knows there's a shotgun blast through a wall somewhere. And
it's
like pretty interesting.
Sound City. There was a
Where's
big Sound City was in the Valley. They did Dave Grohl actually directed a documentary about it. I mean, it eventually closed down, but Dave Grohl there was a Neem board built in the 60s or 70s, I think. Yeah. Hand built kind of, and he ended up relocating that board. That's what Nirvana recorded Nevermind on. Fleetwood Mac recorded Rumors on it, and so the movie documents all of that, and then at the end of the movie, Dave Grohl buys that board, takes it into his own studio, and then invites everyone in to record an album on that board in the new studio as a crescendo. And Paul McCartney shows up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. In fact, I thought the name Sound City sounds to me like a place where they sell stereos, Like
you would think so.
We used to go to get tuners and stuff. Let's go over to Sound City, man, and pick up a turntable.
Yeah, and it's funny, too, because if you see the doc, everyone refers to what a dump it was.
Probably. Oh, I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, a lot of these studios are very unimpressive, but it is kind of cool when you go and you do a different work at different places. God, what did this used to be, man? Like the Comedy Store used to be Ciro's. That was a big nightclub on Sunset Boulevard. I know that, and where there used to be a TV show, 77 Sunset Strip. Is that it? Yeah. Well, where they filmed that, I think, is now like a Hamburger Hamlet or something. But I got into this when I was doing the session. I was at the studio for Rick and Morty, and I went, this place looks kind of like it might have been something in the 70s. I go home and I read up on it, and Ambrosia cut an album there, and the Doobie Brothers had cut an album there, and kind of interesting, you know.
Yeah.
But that's where the second and third seasons we did voice tracking there. But the first time was at this place, Bang Zoom, which is basically a voiceover studio and pretty convenient. I like the studios in Burbank because they're easier to get to for me than going down into L.A.
We loved L.A. when we were there. We loved it. We want to move there.
That's a great city. It's a great city, man.
Yeah, it really is.
People
I really liked it.
L.A. is, people, I heard a guy say, L.A. is ultimately extremely normal. It really is. It's,
I mean, it reminds me of New York, but it's flat and there's palm trees. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Although
and it's more
say that
spread
LA
out.
is flat. You say it's flat because it doesn't have the skyscrapers New York has, but it's got all of the mountains and hills and canyons.
Yeah. No, and that's what I love too. Like it's the weirdest fucking place in that, like, in the middle of a city, boom, you have these like mountains that just jut out in the middle of nowhere. It's very a very cool place, and the architecture is a lot more freestyle. So like you'll see, hey, here's a Japanese pagoda next to a skyrise. You know, it's so I love that.
Yeah, that was a joke in Woody Allen's movie Annie Hall. He goes, "I love the consistency of the architecture here." You know?
That's right.
You got a two-door. You have a two-door next to a ranch house next to it. You know.
Yes,
I think
I love Woody Allen.
About LA is there's a lot of places to hide. You know, there's little suddenly you just drop into a canyon and you're gone.
Yeah.
And you come out and you're. But you guys should move here because
we would love it. We're we got
one of the things,
we got one kid left in with 2 years of high school left. So there we go.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, you got plenty of time. But when you do, remember this. You can find what you want. If you're willing to look long enough, you'll find exactly the house that you want out here. That's true.
It's just how far you want to drive.
And you'll find it at the price that you want to pay, too. But you got to just be patient.
Yeah.
So that's also a plus.
We stayed over by Bob Hope Airport in a Airbnb in North Hollywood.
Yeah, that's Burbank. That's where we recorded Rick and Morty.
Okay, cool. Yeah. There's but it's weird because I say it, man. We're pretty sure that these people were recording a porn in the other room.
Because, probably.
And it's funny because we were there shooting a documentary for about podcasting, and one of the persons we were filming with was she does this show about sex worker rights called The Whorecast, and she was like, "Honey, I've been that. I'm pretty sure I've been that person in your North Hollywood Airbnb, so don't worry about it." Yeah,
it would be interesting to look into that. I mean, there seems to be a subculture here of, I shouldn't say subculture, it's an industry. It's an industry within an industry of adult films.
Yeah.
It's all over the place, man.
Hey, cameramen got to work.
You look at in fact, there's a house that I own in Westlake Village that I'm going to be moving to, and actually bought it when I was married. But I was looking at the backyard one day, and I went, this is exactly where they could have shot a lot of those porn movies that we hear so much about, because it looks like a porn backyard.
Yeah.
It has one of those swimming pools and a wall, and then there's a freeway beyond that, that you don't really see. So
nowadays, when you look at them, they all look like they're in the Hollywood Hills,
right?
Kind of looking down.
Although nowadays the adult film, if I may call it that, industry, if I may call it that, doesn't even rely on professional actors now. It's like 3 minutes of hardcore amateur sex.
And apparently they're all going to Vegas too. Apparently it's all getting done in Vegas now.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Which is another place I would not mind living, just because I hear there's a place that it's very inexpensive to live.
There's a lot of people moving to Vegas, man, that I know. No state income tax.
The gambling thing pays for so much.
Yeah,
I don't fucking gamble, so I'd be great.
You'd love it.
I'm one of those persons who I gamble, I lose, so I learned that very quick, and then I go, "Where's my money for my drugs?"
The good thing about Vegas is there's lots to do other than gamble. They've started to sort of build the city out in other areas. It's actually a family place now, I'm told.
Yeah, actually, when
I wouldn't know.
we came out there, we like landed in L.A. We were there for like a couple of hours, but we met with our friends, Big Daddy Jimmy V. I want to shout out to him, and then they drove us to Las Vegas for this like podcast festival.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we saw a lot of Vegas that wasn't gambling. Like we did, there was like this zombie walk thing that we shot at, which was insane and loud and crazy.
Cool, yeah. Well, Jerry Doyle, when I worked at TRS, Jerry Doyle, the late Jerry Doyle, rest his soul, lived in Vegas. There's a lot of cats that are on the air or do national shows out of Vegas. Become more or less a smaller version of Hollywood, I guess, or New York.
Oh, good thing you said that. Where do you, by the way, sir, do this talking besides Rick and Morty, of course? I know you have a show, a podcast of sorts. Have you started doing the con circuit yet?
Do the what?
Have you started doing it in the con circuit yet? Conventions and stuff?
No, well, we did do a Comic-Con when I was on a show called Napoleon Dynamite. It was the animated version of that.
Yeah.
And that's the only time I went to Comic-Con because there was a panel with the Napoleon Dynamite actors, and I moderated it. I liked it a lot, I mean, it was cool. Debbie Derryberry, and she does a character named Johnny Mnemonic.
Okay. Yeah.
He's always at the. Also, Trevor Duvall is a guy on the show with me, and he's in Guardians of the Galaxy, the animated version of that. Those cats do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So tell me, wait. So that's right. You just reminded me. You're on a new show on Netflix that just dropped. F is for Family.
Yeah, it's 3 years old. We're in the
really?
Yeah.
I only just realized it recently because you know how I must be watching shows that make it say, hey, you should watch this show too.
Right.
That's how it popped up on my radar recently.
Yeah, well, it's been, I would say that F is for Family, like Rick and Morty, was popular out of the gate, but was popular out of the gate with people that, if you were involved with Rick and Morty, you're not going to notice F is for Family and vice versa. And I think because you're a professional, me mentioning it, you're going to be into it now. I would say F is for Family is got the same loyal viewing base that like a Rick and Morty has, though. And this is the third season, man. It's on Netflix. What do you think about this rumor that Netflix is $20 billion in hock?
Whoa.
$20 billion.
Billion.
I don't know if that's true or not. Nasty rumors get started for a reason.
Yeah. But with Disney wanting to start its own digital, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they put out some bad, rumors in the water.
Well, it's like way back in the day when Corona beer came out. Corona beer was kicking everybody's ass. Budweiser, you name it. And then came the rumor that bums had pissed into the vats of Corona down in Mexico. And literally, the sales of Corona started to soften.
Everybody wants
a rumor like that.
Everybody wants to take it to a racial place. But I won't let them.
Well, I think it was more about the piss. Because it was made in Mexico. The Corona beer was imported. I don't know if this thing about $20 billion in hock is true.
I believe I heard somewhere that they're in debt because they made some investments. And what is it? By 2026, or I don't remember what the date was, they're going to have 75% original content. Like, that's what they're gunning for.
What does that mean? Because I thought they're 100% original.
No, Netflix is not 100%.
They do movies.
Yeah, they buy, buy old stuff, they buy movies, and they buy other series. But by that they mean like Netflix produced shows, whether bought and extended the series or.
I just talked to one of our producers. Like we had a table read for F is for Family the other day, and I talked to Peter Billingsley, and I asked him about the whole man because Wild West is the production company, and there's a French network involved. He said to me something that makes sense. He said, "You remember how networks used to have their own production houses, like NBC Universal? That was the studio. They'd produce shit, and they'd either sell it to NBC Network or try to sell it to other people. Netflix has the same deal with one exception. They don't try to sell it to anybody else. They just create shit and then see if the executives like it. And if they don't, then it gets set fire to and thrown in the garbage."
Really? From what I heard, it's like Netflix has serious fucking numbers now. They know what their people watch. So they just buy shit and in and around. and produce things in and around like the stuff they know people already like. That's why it's all about documentaries, and nobody really wants movies as much as they want long ass series. With a lot of continuity.
Well, if you think about it, a series is just a really long movie.
It really is.
It's like living in a movie. Yeah, living a movie.
We saw Kevin's Q&A recently, Kevin Smith, and that's what he said. Right now, if a young man asked him about being a filmmaker, he said, right now, if you're writing a movie, take that movie and expand it to a first season, or produce a documentary. And I was like happy to hear that, because I'm producing one documentary now. We're in editing, and we're about to start. We're in pre-production on a second documentary. So I was like, yay. So I'm in the right biz.
I remember when we first went in to did the first season of F is for Family, there's always a network person there. It was a Netflix person, like one person. Second season, there were like 3 people. And now every time we do a table read, the whole room is packed.
Wow.
With all the people.
Do they like it? Are they happy, or are they interfering?
They're happy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're very happy with it. But let me tell you this: there's only one real measure of success at Netflix, and that's subscribers.
Yes.
They do not take advertising, and they do not, at the point of death, let anybody know what their methodology is in terms of audience. If you know anything, it's been leaked somehow.
But what shows are hits.
I don't know what they would use. Nielsen doesn't rate them. They
don't
use
their own hits.
Traditional.
Yeah, but Strange Things went gaga. Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things. Yeah.
And there's been some other shows on there.
They're definitely on fire. There's no question. But that's why I thought that was very strange to hear that whole thing about Netflix is $20 billion in debt.
Yeah, and
I'm like, what?
Actually, my editor, the guy who we work with and edit with, he works for the union, but he's done a lot of work with Marvel Netflix, and they're doing great.
Oh yeah, I believe they are, and they're always doing something new.
Yeah, and, the Defenders was just out.
What's that?
The Defenders, which was like. You took all the superheroes compiled into one, the mini Avengers, if you will.
That's right. Yeah. So what started? Oh, Kevin Spacey went over with House of Cards. That's what.
That was another one too. Yeah.
That's what started it for Netflix. That's what got them into the independent production business. And then you'll notice everybody's in it now. Hulu's in it. Amazon, obviously, original Amazon series. They're in it.
Amazon's actually going crazy right now with it. My that's my same buddy who he was doing all this Marvel Netflix is now working with another guy who's doing stuff for Amazon, because Amazon is like, we don't whatever their philosophy is, we don't care, just whatever gets noses to Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm. I watch Amazon. I'm weird though. I watch Amazon for because it has a great film library.
Yeah, me too. I purchased them too.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit about original.
Hey, you know what? I'll say right now, I have all 3 seasons of Rick and Morty through Amazon Digital.
Yeah,
there you go. And that's 100% true.
Yeah. That's definitely good. Yeah.
And I don't mind. I have a relationship with Amazon through Audible, because we're shills for Audible.com. So there you go.
Audible.com. Do they are they a sponsor of yours?
Yes, and hey, we've managed to stay afloat for several years now doing that. So
excellent.
Excellent. I don't know if we've made a dime, but somebody has. But it's good.
I make money on my podcast. I make money on my podcast only because I have a heritage connection to the old radio days.
There you
go. Recognize, but
yes.
Oh yeah, I don't know that it's an easy thing to do.
And you've got we all have another sponsor, which was so weird because we got involved with them through another podcast, and we like coffee, and it was Death Wish Coffee.
Oh.
And then it was absolutely complete coincidences. We got involved with them, and they became a sponsor. Then, they also won this big advertisement thing that was going on, and they won a Super Bowl ad. So it was like, holy shit, we just got involved with this company, and they have a Super Bowl ad. This is amazing. Yeah. And they have great coffee, too. Strongest coffee in the world.
Yeah. What's the company called?
Death Wish Coffee. The strongest coffee in the world. Yes, and their symbol is a skull and crossbones.
Love it.
Yes, it's good stuff. It really is. It'll wake you up, and it's not bitter.
Were you guys podcasting when Sherry's Berries was ruling the podcast world?
I mean, yeah, but that's the way it works now because all the radio, the way because they used to cycle those on radio, now they've just moved to podcast and digital video because advertisers just go to where people's eyes and ears go.
One of the things that podcasting's trying to do is they're trying to get their metrics right so that they can really do audience measuring that will attract the big advertisers like Firestone Tires, Budweiser Beer. You don't hear those advertisers on podcasting because podcasting cannot yet provide for them the demographic breakouts and breakdowns, I should say, that they want.
Yeah, for return on investment.
And they're never...
Yeah, for return on investment.
You got it.
Yeah, it's really hard. It is kind of hard to say exactly. You can't do it like you could do in the old days with TV and fucking, demographics but all that was guesswork too. I mean, you just hired firms to give you, Arbitron and all that.
Yeah, well, and it was also, diaries. They had people writing shit down.
Yeah.
You know what they were, male or female, how old they were. Podcasting doesn't yet do that, and I don't know that they figured a way out yet to do it. They do have download numbers. They can tell the advertiser how many downloads this still gets.
And we're getting a lot better at telling how long the person's listened to in that file.
Yeah.
We're getting better. The stats are getting better.
Yep.
It just depends on what service you're using and all that shit.
Yeah, I just don't know how they're going to break out male, female, ages, stuff like that. But I guess they'll figure it out.
You can actually, there are services now that you can essentially sample your audience, So you'll get, they'll push and they'll harass your audience until they hopefully fucking answer. And then they'll extrapolate based on results. So, but there's services out there. And, let's face it, this is the way it's going. This is the way most communication is going. It's all going digital and it's all going internet,
Absolutely. And I'm glad to see it happen too, man. Because they never say that, art doesn't become really art until the tools are in the hands of everybody.
Yeah.
That's why I've always had a hard time thinking of filmmaking as quote unquote art because only a certain amount of people got their hands on those tools, very expensive tools.
Yeah.
And were allowed to. But now everybody can do it, and it's truly an art form.
Yeah, and you know what you find once everybody can do it? It requires drive and will and passion.
Yeah,
because
you have to.
It's almost like the fact that now that everyone can do it is the defeating purpose in advance because you're about to set sail on a sea of everything. You know what I mean? Of now, the sea is full.
Another way of looking at it is everybody has a paintbrush and everybody has canvas, but there was only one Rembrandt.
Yes, exactly.
And there was only one Picasso. So the excellence rises to the top, regardless. But I'm happy to see that more people can partake at least.
Yeah, and that's I think even more important. I think now what is cool is that you can have a niche success. You can have, like, this show is a very niche show. I mean, this is for if you're a fan of Kevin Smith, and if you're not, chances are you're probably not going to listen to this show. So, I mean, I know where my bread and butter lies, but because of Kevin and I know, what his audience is, and I am essentially a fan, I know where I can stretch my legs, like to Rick and Morty. Which Kevin actually has been more. He just got 2 turtles and named them Rick and Morty. For him and his daughter, yes. So there you go. He's a fan.
That is cool.
Yeah. So I mean, you definitely are in the wheelhouse.
Yeah, it's like there was a big meeting we had in radio at WIOD in Miami about 20 years ago, and Bob Green called us to this big office, and he said, everybody is number one at something, so it no longer matters to call ourselves number one because everybody's number one at something.
Yes.
Everybody's number one in men, number one in women, number one in teens, number one in young adults, number one in older adults, number one, Hispanic, number one in urban. He said, what we have to do now is figure out what we're number one at and quote unquote super serve that audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the beginning for me of recognizing that we were no longer in a game where there was one number one station in the city, but in point of fact, so you're number one in the Kevin Smith world.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, actually, it's funny. Kevin Smith is actually number one. I'm somewhere, getting the scraps.
Yeah. But the point is, whatever that demographic is, you guys are super, quote unquote, super serving it.
Yes.
And that's the name of the game. That's the name of the game now.
Yeah.
And you're right. It is kind of cool.
And another thing, though, that I've discovered about podcasting in general is, so we talk about this like it's a product, but really I'm following my passion. This show is really about giving back to Kevin and giving back to the audience and sort of a dialogue between myself and my listeners, because like, for instance, I mentioned the guy earlier, Big Daddy Jimmy V. When we went out west, he's a listener. He's now a producer of our documentary because he helped us out. He helped us. He loaned us one of his cars while he was out there, so we didn't have to rent one and spend all that money.
And you never returned it, did you?
Oh, yes, I still have it here. That would be awesome. But no, we did return it upon leaving. But no, I mean, and he was.
I still have your car, man.
But shit like that was purely out of social media, purely out of the show, and purely out of a certain spirit of DIY. We're doing this thing, so I really love it. I'm a big booster.
Yeah, and of course, that's half the battle right there, man. If you've got to really love it.
Yeah. And even if you don't get rich, because don't get in this to get rich, but if you can get so many connections and friends and, people in other states and, all that kind of stuff. So depending on what your interest is, that's why I like Twitter a little more than Facebook, because it's more interest driven, but you can really tap into, to some really cool people and get things done more than you ever could before. And that's why when people shit on social media, I go, what's wrong with you? You don't see it.
Yeah, I know. They don't get the potential. There's two things I have to do for my website tonight. One of them is I do a chat with my subscribers, and I have to do a movie for the weekend. So that's why I needed to let you know that.
Okay. Well, where can people find you out online, sir?
I'm at PhilHenryShow.com. PhilHenryShow.com. At SoundCloud. Every day we drop our podcast, and at Podcast One, which is our platform. But you can also go to the homepage of PhilHenryShow.com, and we have our daily podcast sitting right there for free. And then we have, obviously, our archives, which are taped in. And I'm on F is for Family and a few other things that will be coming up.
Rick and Morty, of course.
Good, man.
Cool, man.
Rick and Morty, yeah.
So I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for doing this again. Now we have a more updated content, and I thank you so much, sir.
Sure, and my best to the family and to your son,
who is actually he's off at a concert now. Mom is driving them off to a concert. They're seeing what's his name, Kendrick Lamar. That's him.
Oh, Kendrick Lamar is very good.
Yeah, he's amazing. Like his band is incredible. Yeah, so they're off seeing him right now. I'm home talking to you, and I'm probably having more fun. All right, sir.
All right, brother.
Take care.
Thanks very much, Scott.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Phil Hendrie, everybody.
This is Principal Vagina. No relation. Hi, Principal Vagina. The name's real, possibly Scandinavian. Principal Vagina here. Don't let the name fool you. I'm very much in charge.
All right, and there you go. We have Principal Vagina.
Come on, Morty! Are you okay?
I'm fine!
Oh, good. If anything ever happened to you, I would kill myself. I love you bad, Bobo!
So there you go. Well, Principal Vagina and the hizzy. Phil Hendrie, we're so glad to have him on. We'll have him back anytime.
Yeah.
And, yes, carte blanche, as they say. Especially when...
Hi, guys. I'm your new teacher for Scary Class. My name is Scary Mr. Johnson. Actually, you know what? That's my dad's name, so why don't you just call me Scary Glenn? Yeah. So anyway, I understand your previous teacher was having you work on fundamentals of fear, which is, what is that? So here's what I say. You can't learn anything until you learn how to chill.
I love that character. Especially since she's so creepy looking.
It's so true, though.
Yes.
You do need to
Scary
chill
character.
first.
And he kind of uses a joke that Kevin uses a lot, too. Like, oh, that's my father. Mr. Smith is my father.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Smith is my father.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, well, I was thrilled to have him on. I was thrilled to talk with him.
Absolutely.
I was glad he would take our call a second time to tighten up the interview and freshen things up.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Who do we have next week? I think we go back on schedule. Well, you can listen to last week's show as this week's show. And just in case, also, remember, Brian O'Halloran, Roast.
Yes.
September 6th?
September 6th, yes.
September 6th.
I know it's on a Wednesday.
Yes,
Wait,
in Atlantic Highlands.
Yes.
Get tickets. They're going to go fast.
Mm-hmm.
All the comic book men are there to roast them, as well as some other surprise guests.
Tickets are at Eventbrite, and they're $20 each.
I mean, we were talking to a certain guy who killed Dante in a movie who was thinking maybe he should show up since he killed him in a movie to roast him. I don't know. I'm just putting that out there.
That's kind of scary.
It's weird. Dude, I'm saving it more for that episode, but I was just thinking, as he was sitting there, it's like, wow, Dante was in that chair a week ago, and you killed him.
Yeah.
Even though most people don't know that.
Dude.
Fuck you, dude. And finger cuffs. He's like
cuffs.
It seems like whenever he's inserted, he's a problem.
I know.
He tells Jay and Silent Bob's mom to keep on trucking.
Yeah.
Essentially, which is like saying, go fuck yourself in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's like when religious people tell you, bless his heart.
Oh, bless his little heart.
That's like them saying, fuck yourself or fuck himself.
Fuck you.
So there you go. I think with that long interview, though, we should wrap this one up.
Yeah.
Bring this bitch in for a landing. Next week, we have a very sexy guest.
Yes.
They're very hot. They're very sexy.
Yes.
They're very sweet.
Oh, my God. She's everything cute.
Yes. And who is it, Gene?
Stacy Pressman.
There you go. I was like,
S-T-A...
Did you not know?
No, I do. S-T-A-C-E-Y.
Yes.
P-R-U-S-S-M-A-N.
Yeah, and we have some good times with her. It's so funny because apparently when we did this interview a few weeks ago, and she had just met Brian O'Halloran only like weeks before. And then we had Brian in here last week, and we kind of touched on that a little
that
bit.
was kind of cool, too.
Yeah.
The connection there.
Yes.
She was a lot of fun to talk to.
It seems like she may be our gateway into another realm that we haven't delved too much into. We've done some talking. You guys may want to go back as homework for this for the show for next week. You may want to listen to our Howard Stern episode.
Yeah, the Howard Stern episode, which is fun.
Yeah, it was last season towards the end. It was one of the last 3 or 4 episodes of season 3.
I
don't know the episode off the top of my head.
Touch a little bit on that during the interview with Steve.
Yeah.
A tiny bit.
It's cool to listen to anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for this week. Until next time, thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And if no one else has told you today, let us tell you, you're smart and good.
And even if they have told you, we're going to say it again.
Yes, you're smart and good. Thanks for listening.
Bye, guys.
And,
We had a little incident. A student was frozen to death. And there's no evidence that a Latino student did it. Everyone wants to take this to a racial place. I won't let them.
That's a funny one.
Bye,
that was great during the interview. All right, so we'll see you next time. I'm sorry, I got to pull up the closing music. I'm not on the ball as usual with my themes.
You're talking over my bye guys.
You know what we need?
We
need another person. We need another.
You're talking over my bye guys. Bye guys.
That's what I say to you.
I can't talk, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye, y'all.
What else?
And sorry, not sorry.
Smiling, praying for some faith. Thoughts are drifting through my mind and filling it with fear. Is there something else out there?
Headward, free now to rise. Headward, free now to rise. So if you won't excuse me, I'm going out onto the sidewalk, I'm dropping to my knees and pledging my eternal soul to the thing that literally controls the f***ing weather. We hereby send these unwantables skyward that they might be inhaled by the many heads, later to be sneezed back to us as better babies. Headward, free now to rise. Headward, free now to rise. Headward, free now to rise. Headward, free now to rise.
Morty! Are you okay?
I'm fine!
Oh, good. If anything ever happened to you, I would kill myself. I love you bad, Bobo!
Principal Vagina here. Don't let the name fool you. I'm very much sorry.
Join another person's eyes, we worship at our shrine. Bursting flowers into bloom, there's no such thing as time. Powers from our Mother Earth will blow us to our knees.
My main business is real estate. I also own a newspaper and some other websites and online media businesses.
Now I see that I am just beginning its demise. Flashing bits oh, that makes it bad.
All our souls combined as one. Come join us if you please.
After 988 seasons of Planet Music, the Cromulons have decided to declare Earth the final winner and bring our musical reality show to a conclusion. Goodbye.
There he is. It's that man standing over Blood Alley Square, protecting us all. Go get him, that man.
I'm just going to come out and make this pitch. The old gods are dead. All previous existing religions. All hail the one true God, the giant head in the sky. Headward, free now to rise.